Hello, I'm Sally and this is Naomi. Today I'll be showing you how to test for Diastasis Recti. Pregnant women often get Diastasis Recti towards the end of their pregnancy, and sometimes that can continue through the postnatal phase of motherhood as well. Diastasis Recti means abdominal separation. It's when the rectus abdominis comes apart. It can be very slight or it can be quite exaggerated, and the connective tissue called the linea alba stretches out, so it can give the illusion of a gap or a split, but actually there is still connective tissue there, but the muscle fibres themselves have moved away from one another. The muscle fibres are vertical, hence them being able to come apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because during pregnancy we need more space for the baby, but if it continues through the postpartum time, it can cause a few issues such as lower back pain, digestive issues if it's particularly bad, and it can affect breath work as well. It can affect the bladder to increasing urgency to urinate. So it's good to deal with it if it does continue for months during, or maybe even longer during the postpartum period. So I'm going to show you how to test for it if you're a yoga teacher or physical movement therapist, and then we'll discuss it a little bit. So the way you get your lady to come down so she doesn't hurt her back or get any doming through the abdomen is just to roll onto her side. So Nae's going to put her hand down onto the ground, just supporting herself, and then from there just coming over onto the back. This is a much better way to come down as opposed to just rolling down onto your back, because that can dome the abdomen and increase intra-abdominal pressure as well. Okay, have your student bend the legs too, so the feet are flat to the floor, and this will help drop the lower back down into the mat. This is a good idea because if the legs are straight, often the pelvis will go into an anterior tilt, which again can put pressure on the lower back. And if she's got quite a significant diastasis recti, say 3 or 4 fingers width apart, the lower back's probably going to already be a little bit sore. And also with the legs straight, for some women, again depending on the severity of the gap, the abdomen can start doming a little bit while she's there, which is definitely what we want to avoid. Okay, so the most likely area of the abdomen for the separation to occur is around the umbilicus, so around the belly button. However, it can be anywhere along the linea alba fascia as well. So we're going to test all the way down. So what I'm going to just invite Naomi to do is come up into an abdominal curl. Now before we do that, you're going to support the head just with one hand. So just bringing her hand back, just come in nice and close to your student. Make sure you sit down so she doesn't feel intimidated. And then from there, I'm going to start just at the top. So the rectus abdominis starts just below the breastbone, so just below the sternum. So we're going to find that position with your fingertips. Now you'll bring your fingertips horizontally across, not this way. Okay, so horizontally across, and that way you can get a little bit of a measurement of where of how big the separation is, if there is one. So I'm just going to place fingertips lightly onto the top of the rectus abdominis, where the linea alba will be joining the muscle fibres. And then on an exhale, Naomi's just going to lift her head and shoulder blades. It doesn't need to be a big abdominal curl, it's just very, very small. And by doing this, it just highlights any gap, because the muscle fibres will tense up and contract, and the comparison with the linea alba will be more evident. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to bring my hand down a little bit, and then she's just curling up again. So we're going to do this all the way down. Good, just relaxing down. And you obviously wouldn't want to get her staying there, because that could put pressure and dome the abdomen. We're just holding it momentarily. So there's no gap so far, so I'm just bringing my hand down a little bit lower. Okay, and then relaxing down. I'm just going to do this all the way down. So again, just gently lifting up. And again, just coming down. So each time I move the hand down, I'm moving down about 1 centimetre or possibly 1.5 centimetres. Okay, good. And then coming closer towards the belly button now. So this is where you're more likely to have a separation. And then again, just coming down. Okay. Good, and then just relax there for a moment. So if you do find a separation, what it will feel like is it just feels very soft. Now, if you're doing this to someone and you're quite new to doing it, make sure you practice your poker face. Don't freak out, because it can feel surprisingly soft when you find a gap. Okay, so you'll just keep the pressure on and just see say there isn't a gap here or no, but if there was, if I found it here, I would just have a quick measurement with my fingers. So it might be 2 fingertips sink in. Obviously don't poke the mother too hard because it would be a bit uncomfortable and not very nice. But you just apply a little bit of pressure, say 2 fingers sink in, and then you know it's round about a 2 centimetre gap. 3 fingers, it'll be around about a 3 centimetre gap, and so on and so forth, okay? And then you can just use it as a measurement as the weeks progress, as you do work with her. Okay, so let's assume she's got a 2 centimetre gap, so I'm going to see how far that goes down. So I'm just bringing my hand now, it's just below the belly button, I think. Okay, and releasing down. And then again, just coming down. So I'm going to pretend that there's still a gap there. Okay, and then it round about here, it'll start to close, and just round about there, in line with the front of the ilium now, and then again going down. So normally it closes round about there. Okay, all right. Now, if it's up to you if you want to go down a little bit low. Obviously, you're going to be asking consent, etc., before you do this. If the gap is very wide around the belly button, say it's 4 finger distance apart, the gap you can pretty much assume the gap is going to continue down towards the pubis. So you don't necessarily need to test for that. So just to recap, start just under the sternum. Have the hand horizontal, so you can use your fingers as a guide, as a measurement. Make sure the woman rests down in between you moving the hand down, so we don't overdo it on the abdomen. Make sure the legs are bent, so there's less strain on the lower back and less likelihood of doming through the abdomen again. And practice your poker face. So don't make her feel uncomfortable, don't make her feel like there's anything wrong with her. It's really quite normal to have a bit of a separation through the abdomen. However, it is good information for her to have, because then we can do a little bit of work with her. I always like to assure clients that it's perfectly fixable, and there is work we can do to start the healing process. So she leaves the session feeling quite confident that there is work we can do. If it is very extreme, it might be she needs surgery, but that isn't for us as yoga teachers to decide. That would be going back to her care provider and deciding that for her. But even if that is the case, there is still some work we can do, some gentle work with the spine in neutral, working gently through the TVA muscles, the transverse abdominis muscles, the oblique muscles, releasing down the side of the ribs to help release the obliques, because often if the obliques are tight, it can also encourage the rectus abdominis to separate. I'll pop up some classes as well, film some classes on Diastasis Recti and pop them up on YouTube, so they'll be there for you. Thank you, Nay. Thank you very much. Any questions, just message me. Cheers.